What's up, my friends? Big Friendly with Gen X Memories, back with another video for you. And as you can see on the screen, we've got Chopper Command and Stargate. I decided to put Stargate in this one because any of y'all who have watched my older videos know I'm not a big fan of the original Defender release. To me, it on the suckiness scale, I would put it up there with the 2600 version of Pac-Man. I was never a fan of the game and thought that it was. I thought they could have done better. Anyway, so we're going to have Stargate up there. And that bottom line is pretty important, 4K versus 8K. And that super chip. Now, I don't know a lot about that super chip. It was added into several of Atari's games late in the 2600's life. Dig Dug, Millipede, Junior Pac-Man, Crystal Castles, Dark Chambers, which I think came out way late, like in 1988 maybe, and of course Stargate. Those are some of the more memorable titles. There were others. I'd like to shout out to Carrie over at Atari Age for kind of giving me some basic information about this super chip. I really didn't know anything about it. I appreciate it, buddy. Alrighty, let's play some Chopper Command first, and then we'll play some Stargate. Let's get it on! Over the years, I've heard many times Chopper Command being referred to as a Defender clone. I'd go along with that. I'd say that's definitely true. Though, like I said earlier, I still think this is way better than the original Defender release Atari put out. Now, I will say that the gameplay itself for Chopper Command is a lot simpler than Defender. I mean, it's real basic. You're guarding the trucks across the bottom of the screen. They're in groups of 3. And the jets and helicopters that fly above them are dropping bombs, and they're trying to destroy them. And of course, you're trying to destroy the helicopters and jets. And there's always 3 of them at every section. It never changes. So it's simple. It's a basic game, but it does get hard. When you destroy all of the enemy aircraft, the round will be over, and you'll get a bonus of 100 points for each truck you have left. And the second round, you get 200 points. Third round, 300 points, and so on and so on. So naturally, if you can get good at this game, as you move along, get up around 50,000 points or so, the score really starts to jump. But as you can see right now, you can see how much faster it's already getting. The game does not play. It definitely gets hard. Now you see right there, I just broke 10,000 points, and I got a free helicopter, a free extra life, and I died pretty quick. But you get one every 10,000 points, up to a maximum of 6 helicopters in reserve. Just at 10,000 points, you see how intense this is already getting. I did check YouTube. There were some folks who got into hundreds of thousands of points on this game. 1982 was really a big year for Activision as far as the games they released. Now, Chopper Command was actually the first game they put out that year, and it wasn't until June of 1982. This is according to Wikipedia, when it was released. But they had some other great games they released that same year in 1982. Let's see, you got, of course, you had Chopper Command, Star Master, Mega Mania, Pitfall, Stampede, and River Raid. And I remember Pitfall and River Raid especially. I mean, all those were great games. All those are cool games. I mean, a lot of people love Mega Mania, and they say that's one of their favorite shooters of all time on the 2600. I've heard that before, and it is a really cool game. But Pitfall was one of those games that just everybody was talking about in that year. And I remember my mom got that game at Gaylord's department store. She actually put it on layaway because I think they were out of stock, so she just went ahead and paid for it. And it's kind of like reserving it back in the old days until it finally came in. I remember when I brought it home, the neighbors came over and we played for hours and hours. And it's just one of those games that everybody remembers, it seems like. Now, don't forget, Chopper Command is only a 4 kilobyte, only has 4 kilobytes of ROM. So I think it's very impressive. I mean, you got that background with the sunset and then mountains. You got to admit the sound of the cannon fire from the helicopters is pretty awesome. You can really see how fast these things are going now. Lord. There's not really any game variations on Chopper Command. There is a 2-player option, and there's also a commander level, which is option 3, which the game is a lot harder when you start out at the beginning instead of being easy. And the A/B switch does, as you can see here, on difficulty A, you see how much slower the helicopter fires. So I don't know why any of this is necessary, because the game is hard enough just with the regular settings. I think my best score might be around, I think I got like 58,000 one time. It's just so hard. I don't know how these guys that are playing this thing and scoring 500,000 points, they do it. It's impressive, to be sure. That's it. All right, let's move on to the next game, Stargate. Hey everybody, just wanted to say real quick, thank you so much for watching. And if you're enjoying the video, do me a quick favor and just click that like button down there. It only takes a second and it really helps me out. If you're enjoying my content, I'd be grateful if you think of subscribing. And if you're really, really enjoying it and you want to make my day, share it with some of your friends that also like retro gaming. Thanks. Okay, before we get into the playing the 2600 Stargate, let's take a quick look back at the game's original origins. Of course, it was the sequel to Defender. Now, the release date of 1981 kind of caught me off guard. I thought it was later than that, just thinking back. I was thinking maybe 82 or 83, because 1981 that's right after Defender came out. Now, on the internet, it says Defender came out in 1981, but if you look at the actual game screen, it says 1980. So I don't know, but anyway, it was still close either way. Now the cabinet, like many in the early 80s, was totally badass. I love the Williams logo. You see it especially on the side view of the cabinet, the two V's that are together. I thought it looked cool. And one thing I did not like was the terrible controls. They didn't change it at all from Defender. The game is hard enough as it is, and you got all these friggin' buttons, and nobody liked that. Even people who were good at the game didn't like that, and I thought it sucked. Now, compared to the original Defender for the 2600, this is way harder from the start. The landers are much more aggressive at trying to kidnap your humanoids. I hate when I do that. That's so frustrating. This is almost as frustrating as the arcade game. Almost. Another thing that's different is your ship does not shoot nearly as fast. In the arcade version, as fast as you could press the button, your ship would fire. It doesn't work that way on this, but I would say the trade-off is that the enemies aren't nearly as aggressive as they are in the arcade version of Stargate. Those little Pac-Man dudes are kind of like the baiters in Defender. They start showing up if you take too long. There is a bit of flicker, but that's more because of my monitors refreshing. The game really is flicker-free. It's a great game as far as when you compare it to the arcade. They did a great job with this. Now, I'm playing with a PS4 gamepad. Now, they did change it in this game versus the regular Defender on Atari, where you could use two joysticks. That way you could use a second joystick to activate your smart bombs and your Inviso. But it's still real hard. I give them credit for doing the best they could with what they had to work with. That's just the way it was back then. But I don't think I would be able to score as high using two joysticks. I can't anyway, because I don't have two adapters to plug into my laptop. But even if I did, I wouldn't do it. I'd still use the PS4 gamepad. Okay, wave 3. I think this is when the pods start showing up. Now, they're better than the 2600 pods, but they still kind of cluster together. They don't come out. It's not as hard as the arcade. They kind of cluster into a ball still, but it looks a lot better than the 2600 version did. And the pods themselves look way better, more like the arcade version. Okay, I went ahead and moved up to wave 5 in the game footage. This is the Space Guppy wave. It's pretty much there's no landers. It's just vast majority of the enemies, those little pulsating space guppies, which again look really, really great. A lot like the arcade version. To be honest with you, this is kind of a relief to me. This level, just knowing you don't have to worry about your humanoids being stolen, you kind of get a break from that for a second. It's not too tough, but wave 6. See, things are starting to get kind of hectic here. And once again, I shot another one of my humans. I hate that. Man, that's so frustrating. It seems like I did that in the arcade too. Another thing that I learned, I mean, I didn't play this a lot in the arcade, this or Defender, because they were just so freaking hard. It just didn't seem like your quarter/token went very far, because I could never get past maybe the 3rd wave or so in the arcade. It was just so freaking hard. But I didn't realize, I knew if you hit the Stargate it like teleported you, but I didn't know that it actually carried you to the closest lander that's stealing your humanoid. It's kind of like a way to jump there, which is really, it comes in handy. Here's one thing I thought was worth mentioning from the instructions. It says in attack waves 1 through 9, if you pass through a Stargate while transporting 4 more humanoids on your ship, you'll automatically advance 4 waves into the game. You'll also receive 1,000 points for every humanoid left on the planet. I remember in the early 80s there was a arcade chain called Barrel of Fun, and we had one of those at the Montgomery Mall, which was the older mall in town. This sign is about the only thing I could even find scouring the internet. You barely know the place even exists anymore, or ever existed at all, I should say. But anyway, I remember I was playing this game, and of course I got frustrated, and after I lost my last life, I smashed it. I didn't smash, I hit it real hard, with my fist. And the guy running the place, he was a young dude in his early 20s. It looked like he jumped my ass and told me he's going to kick my ass out if I didn't say it. I shouldn't have done it, but you just get so frustrated. But that arcade was really cool. I remember several years later when I was in high school, on Saturdays they would do a special 100 tokens for $10. And man, me and a friend of mine named David, we would go up there and we'd put in $5 a piece, and we would play a whole game of John Elway's quarterback. Like we'd be literally standing at the cabinet for, it seemed like a couple of hours, but we would play a whole 4-quarter game. It seemed like he always kicked my ass, but but you can see here I've lost my last humanoid, so it's all mutants. I don't usually get this many points. This is one of the better games I played. I don't think I've ever broken 60,000 before. Eight attack waves, though. That's pretty solid. That's pretty good. No smart bombs, though. Yeah, this is... And I don't like the Inviso much either. It doesn't seem to help that much, so I don't use it. But anyway, cool game. We can't forget about the good old programmers who made these great games for us. And for Chopper Command, we all know who Bob Whitehead is. This guy was in my last video. Because I had boxing for Activision in there, which might have been Activision's one of their very first games they ever released in 1980, I believe, if I remember right. But you can see he did a lot of Atari's early stuff, a lot of their simple games that only had 2K of memory, and then he jumped over to Activision, and as you can see here, he did several really cool games. Anyway, the guy was very busy, very, very busy. Now, over on Stargate, Bill Espromonte, I'm not sure about that one. He did a couple of 20th Century Fox games, Bank Heist and Crash Drive. They're pretty rare, 5 of Rarity each, and Defender 2, which is the same thing as Stargate, and Pigs in Space. There was another guy listed on the credits that did the sound for Stargate, Andrew Fuchs. That's German, I think. I think it is pronounced like Fuchs, I believe. But you can see some stuff here. But I found a blog also that I believe it's his own blog, and I decided to check it out, share it with y'all. And this is pretty interesting. 8-bit audio. He did sounds, different sounds for the games. He did the Real Sports series of games for the 2600. Donald Duck's Speedboat Race. He did the Sword Quest series, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Holy Moly, Last Starfighter. Some of these I don't know if they're prototypes or never came out. Xevious, Sinistar, and the Atari computer line. You can see here did a lot of cool games for the Countermeasure and Space Dungeon. That's a great game. Did a lot of cool stuff. And ColecoVision did a lot of their Atari ports for the ColecoVision as well. So, Mr. Fuchs, I guess you're responsible for this sound then? Okay, over to Atari Age. If y'all haven't gone to Atari Age yet and signed up, you really need to do it if you're getting into retro gaming. But anyway, the rarity of Chopper Command is just like a lot of the early Activision games. The plain label is a 2 and the blue label is a 3. And of course, the regular labels always look really rough because of the bleed through factor. Over on Stargate, it's a little harder. It's a 4, so it's a little tougher to come by. And we might as well check out Defender 2. They're actually, I thought this might be more rare, but it's exactly the same. This game was originally released as Stargate. The name was changed presumably for copyright reasons, although we're not exactly sure what the issue was. Perhaps Atari had rights to the name Defender, but not Stargate as the game appeared in the arcades. That is strange because Williams makes both games. I don't get it, but hey, whatever. But anyway, it's not any more rare. It's also a 4 plus on the rarity scale. Now, over to eBay. Let's see what folks are surrendering to pick up a physical copy of these games. Chopper Command is not much. $10 free shipping for the loose cart. There's one with the box and the manual for $25. If you want to get a Taiwan copy, kind of strange. The art always looks weird. There's $30 free shipping. So as you can see, it's not much to it. And there's labels, of course, people sell. Are there any? Okay, here you go. Here's one that's $400. It's in mint condition. I like the stickers on there. Let's see. Video Village, $19.98. The TV Shop, $31.98. That's really cool. Looks nice, but I just don't see. I couldn't pony up that much for it. Let's see here. Any others? There's another one. Okay, now that looks pretty good. Complete and box tested, $40. $25 box and instructions. So it's, even if you want to get a complete copy, and see, I like this right here. This is what the box is kind of beat up, but you get all the little inserts. That is what is cool to me. This would be, if I was in a spending mood, wanted to put it on the shelf, this would be pretty cool. Okay, now Stargate. It seems to command a higher. It is more rare, but the value goes up quite a bit. 22, 23, 40, 30. So you're looking at $25-$30 for a loose copy. It looks like, even for one that's crappy, $25. Okay, what about anything inside the boxes? Complete in box, $100. Okay, I'm curious on this one. I do want to jump over and see. Give me a sec here. completed items. And there's a $30 for the card and the instructions. $90. The whole schmear right there. Let's see. Toys R Us. Cool. $7. Wow. Looks good, though. That's nice. Defender 2. I figure we might as well take a look at that. It says it's the same Rarity. There's somebody trying to sell a graded value for $275. $14 with some handwriting on it. 25, so it looks like it's about the same thing. There's less copies available, it looks like, which is weird. But there's 55 for one that's in the box. So, hey, if you want to get these for your collection, make sure you check the link in my description and help out my channel. Okay, which one of these games do I like better or think is better? I think Stargate is the better game, but it should be. It's got twice the memory plus a super chip. I always have a special appreciation for what Activision did with so little. So maybe I'm a little biased towards Activision, but in this case, Stargate is a better game. But I would love to have both of these one day on a shelf behind me, on display, if my channel ever gets big enough. but they're both good games. But Stargate is the better of the two. But not really a fair competition. Hey guys, any of y'all who made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna ask a special favor from you. Excuse me. Do me a favor, if you could. If like the video, of course, subscribe if you enjoyed it. But also, if you don't mind, share it with your friends who might like retro gaming. For whatever reason, YouTube just isn't putting out my stuff. I don't mind making these. I enjoy it. Enjoy talking about it and everything. But it doesn't seem like the reach is going out. So if you really like the video or my videos in general, if you can remember to share them, I'd appreciate it. Hey, enjoyed this so much. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.